Welcome back to a new session of human health and disease. In this session, let's look at various different types of infectious disease that usually invades the humans. Now, in the previous session, we came across the term, the definition, where we call it as infectious as well as non-infectious diseases. There, infectious diseases are those which are easily transmitted from one person to another person. Non-infectious diseases are those which are not easily transmitted from one person to another person. Okay, so this is the basic difference between infectious as well as non-infectious diseases. There are various different types of infectious diseases that comes to the humans, where most of the disease can be completely 100% treated, and there are a few diseases which are quite fatal, dangerous, harmful diseases. There are non-infectious diseases where these non-infectious diseases might be cured completely, or some diseases are fatal like cancer. Okay. Now, here let us look at the list of various different types of infectious diseases that we come across. And as you know, taking precaution is the most important. So, that is why what we say is a precaution is better than treatment. Before we get the disease, let us be very aware about all the diseases that infects the humans, including the present COVID disease. So, that is why what we need to do is take all the precautionary measures so that let us maintain our good health. Okay. So, with this, let us look at the list of infectious diseases. In this infectious disease, let us go to the first disease, and the first disease that we come across here is common cold. Okay. Now, common cold, let us go to the causative agent, how common cold is caused. Now, first one is cause. Now, this is caused by rhinovirus. This is caused by rhinovirus. There are 100 different types of rhinovirus that exist in their nature due to their genetic change. Okay, we call this as mutation. Due to this mutation, there are various different types of the rhinoviruses, and this rhinovirus will cause this disease called as common cold. Including the rhinovirus, the other virus that is going to cause the same symptom, common cold, is the coronavirus. Okay, so that we have came across it, okay, in these days. Now, these rhinoviruses, almost they are present in warm environmental conditions, and in the cold countries the rhinovirus won't survive. Okay, if the temperature is too cool, these viruses won't survive there, and this virus gets inactivated. Okay. Right. So, let us go to the mode of transmission, how it is transmitted, and later on we will go to the first we will look at the symptoms, then mode of transmission, all these things. The virus is spread through various modes, either by direct or indirect contact only. So, where we call it as mode of transmission. So, mode of transmission, it is through pens, books, utensils, then doorknobs, then computer keyboards, computer mouse, etc. So how it is transmitted? So mode of transmission, it is through the pens, books, utensils, doorknobs, computer keyboards as well as mouse. Now in the common cold, as we have the major symptom of sneezing as well as the running nose, there due to this sneeze or due to the running nose, suppose if the virus are present on the utensils or particles, okay, like the pens. Pens means almost through the pens how it is spread from one person to another person. Almost in the schools as well as colleges, what you do is you will be sitting on the desk, and most of you have a bad habit of keeping the pen in your mouth. What you do is you write something, then after that you just hold your pen in your mouth, then keep it on the desk. Then your friend who is sitting beside you, they will take the same pen, they will also write, and again they have the same habit, they will put the pen in their mouth. Then what will happen? Virus is transferred. Okay, this is what is said to be indirect contact or indirect transmission. Direct transmission is through the sneezing. That's why before you cough or sneeze, either use your handkerchief or you have to just bend your elbow and sneeze there only on your shoulders. Okay, so this avoids direct transmission of the virus. Okay, so this is mode of transmission. Then let's look at the symptoms. What are the symptoms that we observe here? Nasal congestion, then nasal discharge, sneezing, okay, then watery eyes, sore throat, hoarseness, headache, etc. So we observe such type of symptoms. Okay, and almost all of you have faced this problem. Okay, is there anyone who is watching this video have never faced the common cold in their lifetime? No chance at all. Okay, everyone have came across common cold. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಲೈಫ್ನಾಗ ಒಂದು ಸರರ ಕಾಮನ್ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ನೆಗಡಿ ಬಂದು ಹೋಗಿರ್ತದ, ಒಂದು ಸರ ಅಲ್ಲ ಭಾಳ ಸರ ಆಗಿರ್ತದ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಕಾಮನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಮೂಗತ್ ಅನ್ನೋದದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಾಮನ್ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ, ಆಫನ್ಲಿ, ಸೀಸ್ನಲಿ ವೆನ್ ದ ವೈರಸ್ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್. ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತದೆ. ವಿದೌಟ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅವರ್ ಬಾಡಿ ನೆವರ್ ಶೋಸ್ ಎನಿ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅವರ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ capability of homeostasis also, where it will maintain its body equilibrial state, okay, beyond which it shows various different types of symptoms. Okay, then now if these symptoms are there, what is the treatment for this? So let's go for the treatment here. Usually common cold will be there, so it will be there for 3 to 7 days. We observe the common cold for 3 to 7 days, and for this what we take? Anti-cold tablets. D-cold tablets. Okay. Now, based on the symptom, look at the symptoms. Symptoms: nasal congestion. Okay, nose gets blocked, nasal congestion, nasal discharge. We also call this as running nose. Okay, nasal discharge also called as running nose. Nasal discharge, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಮೂಗು ಸೋರೋದು ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸ್ನೀಸಿಂಗ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದೇರ್, ಸೀನೋದು ಇರ್ತದ. ವಾಟ್ರಿ ಐಸ್, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದ, ಕಣ್ಣೊಳಗಡೆ ನೀರು ಬರ್ತಿರ್ತಾವೆ, ವಾಟ್ರಿ ಐಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದೇರ್. ಸೋರ್ ಥ್ರೋಟ್, ಹುಳಿ ಸುಟ್ಟಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತದ ಗಂಟ್ಲು ಒಳಗಡೆ. ಹೋರ್ಸ್ನೆಸ್, ಧ್ವನಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತದ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್, if you call to your friend or someone else, based on your voice they will recognize. Okay, ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಆರಾಮಿಲ್ಲ ಏನಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದ ರೀಸನ್ ಈಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಹೋರ್ಸ್ನೆಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ಹೆಡೇಕ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದೇರ್, little bit dizziness will be there, weakness will be there. Okay, all these are various different types of symptoms. Now, generally if you get infected with the common cold, the virus will be there for 3 to 7 days. That means you may get cure in 3 days or up to 7 days. Then that means it is whether it is necessary to take this treatment or no. Now, suppose if you take the tablet, then it will be cured in a week, and suppose if you do not take any tablets, then it will go in 7 days. ಎರಡು ಒಂದೇ ರೀ, ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದ. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ if the common cold is mild, no need to take any sort of tablets, but if it is a little bit severe, then better to go with the anti-cold tablets. We call them as D-cold tablets. Okay, so this is regarding the common cold. Then how to avoid it, how to get rid of this. Now, whatever the mode of transmissions are there, now there you have to take the precautionary measures for that. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಹೌ ದ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟೆಡ್. ನಾವು ಥ್ರೂ ದ ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತದ, ಸೊ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಕಂಟ್ಯಾಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್ ಪೆನ್ಸ್, ಕಂಟ್ಯಾಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್ ಯುಟೆನ್ಸಿಲ್ಸ್. ನಾವು ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ತದ, ವೆನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕ್ಯಾರಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಬುಕ್, ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಸ್ನೀಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್, then if you carry the same book ultimately through your bare hands. Okay, then suppose if you wash your hand properly, then you won't get contaminated during indirect transmission. Most of the disease we get due to our unhygienic practice, and during lunch time ಊಟ ಮಾಡೋ ಸಮಯ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೈ ನಾವು ತೊಳಿಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಡಿಸೀಸ್ಗಳು ಬರುವಂಥ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರು ಕೈ ತೊಳಿಲ್ದೇ ತಿಂತಿರ್ತಾರೋ, ವೈರಸ್ಸು ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಂಟ್ರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಬಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಮ್ಯೂನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಎನಫ್ ಟು ಕೋಪ್ ಅಪ್ ವಿತ್ ದೋಸ್ microorganisms, but everyone is not same. Okay, so let us take precautionary measures. Okay, then doorknobs mostly in the public places. Nowadays you are very aware about all these things. Whenever you touch all those doorknobs, ಡೋರ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾಬ್ ಲೈಕ್ ರೌಂಡೆಡ್ ನಾಬ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡೋರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪುಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ದ ಡೋರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಡೋರ್ ನಾಬ್, ಡೋರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್, ವೆನೆವರ್ ಯು ಟಚ್ ಇಟ್ in the public place, okay, or with an infected persons in their homes or rooms, wash your hands properly. Okay, the best way nowadays you are doing sanitization is also the best way to kill the microbes. Then computer keyboards and mouse, ಇವತ್ತರಿಂದ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತತಿ, ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ವೈರಸ್ಗಳು ಇರ್ತಾವ. those viruses are different from our human virus. Okay, so computer virus won't infect us. ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾವೆ, ಒಬ್ಬರು ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಒಬ್ರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಯಾರೋ ಆಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ನೀಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆನ್. ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಡೂ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಸಿಟ್ ದೇರ್, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಆಪ್ರೇಟ್ ದ ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಆಪ್ರೇಟ್ ದ ಮೌಸ್. ದೆನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಬಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪುಟಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮೌತ್. ದೆನ್ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಕಂಟ್ಯಾಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ದ ಕಾಮನ್ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ಈಸಿಲಿ transmitted from one to the next person. Okay, so with this let's move to the second one. The second disease is pneumonia. Okay, after the pneumonia I'll tell you the basic difference between common cold as well as pneumonia. Now in case of pneumonia, let's go to the cause with the same reason. It is mainly caused by Streptococcus pneumonia, Streptococcus pneumoniae. This is the bacteria, or there might be one more where we call it as a Haemophilus influenzae. Haemophilus influenzae. So Streptococcus pneumonia, Haemophilus influenzae, these are the bacteria through which pneumonia is transmitted. Pneumonia is a disorder of lungs. Common cold is a disorder of upper respiratory tract. So it infects the upper respiratory tract, while pneumonia it infects the lungs. Okay, so let me quote in more particular. Common cold, it infects upper respiratory tract, while pneumonia infects lungs, mainly alveoli. So here it infects lungs, where we call this as lower respiratory tract. Upper respiratory tract, nasal cavity, then tracheal regions and karitive. Lower respiratory tract we call it as lungs. Okay, so that's why pneumonia is little bit more dangerous than the common cold, but it is not deadly. Common cold or pneumonia is not deadly, but precaution has to be taken place. Okay, ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ನೆಗಡಿ ಬಂದು ಸತ್ತ ಅಂತನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ವಿಷಯ ಕೇಳಿರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೋ ಡೆಡ್ಲಿ. Pneumonia is same thing, it's not deadly, but if it is left untreated, it is deadly, right? And pneumonia is one of the major symptoms that we are observing in the COVID patients. That means lungs gets filled with the fluid. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಸಿಟಿ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ 25, 10 score, 12 score, 15 score, 18 score, 20, 24 score, 25 and 25. It's a gone case. Okay, very severe case, right? Anything above 17, 18 is little bit dangerous condition. Okay, risky condition. Below 15, it's towards the safer side, but lot of medication and treatment are necessary. Okay, so pneumonia, it's caused by Streptococcus pneumonia, Haemophilus influenzae. Okay, so we'll go with the mode of transmission. How it is transmitted? It is transmitted through droplet infection and aerosols. Okay, so droplet infection means due to the sneezing and coughing. Okay, ಕೆಮ್ಮಿನಿಂದ ಈ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಸೊ ಐದರ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಲೆಟ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್, cough and sneeze ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. In the pneumonia, generally we observe these symptoms. Coughing will be there because it infects the lungs. Then through the aerosols, pneumonia patients, for them certain aerosols, mouth spray, oral sprays are given. When they will be taking this oral spray, as in case of asthma, like that. ಓಕೆ, ಅಲ್ವಿಯೋಲೈ ಬ್ಲಾಕೇಜ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಏರೋಸೋಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೌತ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಅಸ್ಮಾ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಕೊಡೋ ಟೈಮ್ನಾಗ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಟೈಮ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಫಿಂಗ್. ಆ ಏರೋಸಲ್ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಲೆಟ್ಸಿಂದ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್. ದೆನ್ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ಸ್. Now look at the symptoms of the common cold and let us compare with that of the pneumonia. Okay, now here what major symptom do we find here? We find nasal congestion, nasal discharge. Okay, so these are the major one. But in case of this, initially we find fever, chills, cough, headache. Now fever, almost in most of the disease we get this symptom. Okay, even in case of this common cold also there might be mild fever. Okay, but here we will get the fever because lungs are infected, so our body shows that symptom. Then chills ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚಳಿ ಬರ್ತದ, ಚಳಿ ಜ್ವರ. Then coughing will be there, as I told you, headache, ತಲೆನೋವು ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತದ. These are initial, but suppose if it is left untreated in its initial condition, then ultimately it infects the alveoli of lungs, leading to excess secretion of mucus and blocking the air passage. Air passage gets blocked. When alveolar passage gets blocked, remember alveoli are a bunch of grape like structures. Okay, so these alveoli, they are grape like structures here. If the passage is blocked here, suppose if the respiratory passage gets blocked here, then traveling of the air into the alveoli gets reduced. As a result, on this alveoli there will be lot of blood vessels which carry oxygenated blood towards the heart and various body parts. Now during this process what happens, oxygen is not taken. As a result, there is oxygen deficiency. Due to this, almost some parts of the body appears bluish in color, where we also call this as a condition of cyanosis. Okay, body appears to be bluish. Mainly which part appears to be bluish? The parts that appears to be bluish or the parts that turn bluish is the nails, lips turns bluish in color. They turn bluish in color, okay, which is quite dangerous symptom. Okay, and even initially if it appears bluish in color, with lot of medication it can be treated completely. Okay, then for this, what is the treatment? The major treatment, it includes antibiotics. Most of the antibiotics can be used for this, like penicillin, tetracycline, kanamycin, erythromycin, azithromycin. So different types of antibiotics are there by which the disease can be treated completely 100%. Okay, so this is the part of pneumonia. Okay, now as we are going to discuss, there are various lists of the diseases. Okay, first one common cold, second one pneumonia, third one typhoid, fourth one malaria is there, then fifth one ascariasis, amoebiasis, filariasis, ringworm. So we are going to study around 8 different types of diseases caused by different agents. So we have taken different agents here, and you need to remember the causative organism, and you have to remember the various symptoms that we come across the different types of disease, because any one of the disease in a descriptive level can be asked for a short notes type of question, 3-mark level or a 5-mark level question. Okay, so that's why you have to remember, and you have to remember the causative agent. Now this is a viral disease. Common cold is a viral disease, pneumonia is a bacterial disease. If you want to know it, you can just write into the bracket, and here we'll understand rhinovirus, as the name says, it is a virus only. And here into the bracket you can write bacteria, it is a bacterial disease, because in an objective question we will ask a question, write a infective bacterial disease or give an example of a bacterial disease. Okay, you have to write the name of the disease. Okay, so with this let's move on to the third one, third infectious disease. So got the difference between pneumonia and common cold? Common cold infects upper respiratory tract and pneumonia infects lower respiratory tract, and that lower respiratory tract we called as lungs. Mainly it infects the alveoli of the lungs, blocking the air passage and leading to a disease, pneumonia. Then the next disease, the third one is typhoid. Now let's directly go to the causative agent. Cause, it is caused by a bacteria named as Salmonella typhi. Again it is a bacterial disease. You can write into the bracket if you can't remember later. Salmonella typhi is name of the bacteria that causes typhoid. Okay. Then in case of the typhoid, let's go to transmission. Transmission is, it is transmitted through contaminated food and water. It is mainly transmitted through contaminated food and water. That means if the water is contaminated with the bacteria, if you drink that water, especially polluted water is not special here, but if you drink this unhygienic water and food, that means if the food consists of this bacteria, and there might be certain agents, vectors, where we call it as houseflies. Houseflies are the vectors or agents that will transmit various different types of diseases. Especially we find lot of diseases during the rainy season, because rainy season lot of moisture is available, and that moisture is the favorable environment for the microbial activity. As a result, rainy season is the doctor season. Okay, that is going on now at present. So that's why be alert and aware about various different types of diseases, and if you are maintaining a healthy and hygienic practice, so nothing will happen to you. Okay. So that's why most of the disease that we get is due to our own negligence only. Okay. So this is the mode of transmission. Then let's go to the symptoms. Now you can just go through the symptoms there, and some sort of the same symptom we will find here. Okay, now here mainly sustained high fever, around 39 to 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, so temperature is very high. Our normal body temperature is around 37 degrees Celsius, above which we will count it as fever. So sustained high fever, that means continuous high fever will be there, that to 39 to 40 degree Celsius, that much high temperature. Then along with that, weakness, stomach pain, constipation. We find such type of symptoms also apart from this fever, high fever. Major symptom is high fever. Along with this high fever, weakness will be there. Any disease we will get weakness, stomach pain, then constipation, irregular bowel movements in the large intestine, where it is a symptom. If it is left untreated, it leads to piles. Okay. Then apart from this, suppose if the disease is left untreated in the initial condition, even it may cause intestinal perforations also. Okay. So these are the initial symptoms that we observe, but later symptoms, it includes intestinal perforations. Intestinal perforations and even death. Okay. Intestinal perforations are nothing but holes in the intestine. Okay, that is the severity if the typhoid is left untreated. Now there is a test for this. There is a test. Name the test that is used to detect the disease typhoid, and the name of the test is Weidel test. Remember, this is an objective question. Okay, so that's why I am giving it with a star mark. Name the test that is used to detect the disease typhoid. The test is Weidel. Okay, Weidel test, right? Then what is the treatment for this? Again, as I told you, antibiotics. Most of the antibiotics are used. As I have given you the list of penicillin, tetracycline, erythromycin, kanamycin, neomycin, azithromycin. So different types are there, out of which penicillin will act like the best antibiotic for various different types of diseases. Okay, but such type of this treatment process is not given here, because various different types of treatment methods and modes are there in the field of medicine. Okay, now how to avoid the disease? Avoid contaminated eating up of food and water. That means whenever you go to a hotel, if they won't maintain clean, or whenever they bring the water glass, just observe their fingers should not be dipped in the water glass. Okay, don't drink such type of water. Okay, whenever you go for an outing, the best thing is buy mineral water. Okay, so be a little bit cautious. Then always have proper cooked food. Okay, so this is how to avoid the typhoid. Then based on this, how the typhoid disease came, there is a story, and that story mainly depends on a person, and her name is Mary Mallon. Mary Mallon, it's a name of the cook, and it is a story of a 1900th century where she was a cook. And what she used to do is, she has got the disease typhoid and she was not knowing it, unaware about that also. And through the unhygienic practice, through the unwashed hands, when she used to cook the food in different houses, various houses, almost most of the family members of different houses, they got typhoid. When they got typhoid, and a few of them even died due to typhoid also. Okay, later on, when it was analyzed and checked from where did it come, then finally they came to know that it was through the cook called as Mary Mallon, and from that time she became famous as Typhoid Mary, Mary Typhoid. Okay, so she is also called as Typhoid Mary. Okay, so that is a story with respect to the disease typhoid. So with this, with the next disease malaria, we will start up in our new session in the next class. Thank you.